The stabbing epidemic in Seattle continues. Yes, knife stabbing. A man is recently stabbed inside Seattle's AT&T store in the Rainier Beach district. That's number one. Next one was the bus driver who got stabbed to death outside of his bus in the U district. And then we've got the 10 stabbings that happened in the International District. We've just got stabbing happening all over Seattle. What's going on? What's the reasoning behind this? Let's get into it right now.
So now to an update on that breaking news out of Seattle from this afternoon. A man was stabbed inside of this AT&T store in the Rainier Valley Square area. According to Seattle police, a 37-year-old man was seriously hurt. He had to be quickly rushed to Harborview. Fox 13's Jennifer Dowling had a chance to talk with one of the witnesses to the arrest.
She also spoke to Seattle police and is joining us now with an update on the case.
Witnesses tell me it happened inside the AT&T store right behind me, with that store now being closed. Police said that employees in the store locked themselves inside a storage room in order to get away from the suspect after that stabbing. This is video showing the chaos outside following a stabbing at the AT&T store at Rainier Valley Square Monday.
I heard a scream from when I was inside here.
Adam McKay was getting tags for his motorcycle at the Department of Licensing next door and took the cell phone video after hearing a commotion outside.
I came out and I pretty much saw 4 police cars just coming in and 4 more came after.
His video shows someone in handcuffs.
A lot of police cars swarming towards the back.
Other witnesses also captured this video on the Citizen app. Seattle police tell me the call came in at around 2:39 p.m. Witnesses told police the suspect first went into the AT&T store appearing to be in crisis. A short time later, the victim...
Okay, there's your detail. There's your detail right there. That's the key pivot point. That is, this guy he is having a day. He's got something mental going on. He's mentally disturbed. He's on drugs. He's homeless. Almost guarantee all 3 of those are true. If they're not, okay, 2 out of the 3. We know he's in a mentally disturbed mode, because who else runs into an AT&T and just starts stabbing people, right? Sane people don't do that. So he's having an episode, right? Because he is. Yeah. Okay.
Also walked in, and the two had a conversation, which witnesses described as non-confrontational. Suddenly, the suspect pulled a knife out from his jacket and stabbed the other man in the chest. The victim ran outside to get help. Police gave him first.
Okay. We're going to go over that just one more time. So guy walks into the store, starts talking to a dude, normal conversation, and then just out of nowhere, boop, boop. Yeah. And that's exactly what happened in the International District. 10 random stabbings by a dude that's just absolutely mental. The bus driver, we'll get to that one in a little bit. The bus driver one was over having a window either up or down because the windows were fogging up. The bus driver wanted it up. The guy wanted it down. You know what I mean? And you don't stab somebody over that. But let's continue with this story.
Stayed outside until Seattle Fire arrived and rushed him to Harborview Medical Center. Meantime, police found the 57-year-old suspect still inside the store, attempting to get into the storage room where employees had locked themselves in to hide.
You can just see all those police cars and more kept coming into that side of the street. But at that point, he was just kind of arrested.
With the holidays in full swing,
Ross was pretty busy over there. We're coming in and out. And a lot of people driving by as well.
It's fortunate no one else was hurt.
There was actually a little kid on a scooter going towards that attacker, a 7-year-old or an 8-year-old. And then his parents called him over quickly.
Yeah. Little Johnny. Yeah. Don't ride your scooter over there. There's a crazy dude with a knife. You might get stabbed. Why don't you go that direction? This is literally what parents are dealing with in Seattle. You might have a stabbing. The employees are hunkered down in a back room in an AT&T because there's a nut job outside who's already stabbed one person and he's looking to get to the rest of the employees for no real reason other than he is mental and he is having a day.
So that was also pretty dangerous. The police came, they apprehended him.
Yeah.
The kid was like right next to the attacker.
Seattle police say the victim was listed as stable and is expected to survive his injuries. Reporting in Seattle, Jennifer Dowling, Fox 13 News.
We're just going to move right on through. This is a really great 8-minute clip here. We're going to cruise through this. This is Como. This is the 10 stabbings that happened back in October. This kind of set off this stabbing spree that Seattle's becoming known for. Here we go.
Breaking tonight, 6 stabbings, 10 people hurt. Now 1 person is in custody following a series of seemingly random attacks that culminated with a mass stabbing this afternoon.
The stabbings happened over a stretch of 36 hours in Seattle's Chinatown International District, starting early Thursday morning and ending around 2 p.m. today near 12th and Jackson.
Video from a traffic camera here in the area captured part of today's attack. You can see a man dressed in black walk up behind one of the victims and stab them in the upper.
Random.
That person falls to the ground as the suspect walks off.
Just in the past hour, Seattle Mayor Bruce Peril released a statement about the stabbings. It reads in part, the stabbings in Little Saigon and the Chinatown International District are horrific, appalling, and shouldn't occur anywhere in our city. He goes on to say, every person deserves to feel and be safe, and I remain committed to using every tool available to improve the safety for all residents, workers, and visitors.
We have
The crazy thing about this area, this is the International District, which is to the east of downtown by a couple of miles. It has been one of the worst areas in all of Seattle for violence, for sex trafficking, for drugs, for the sale and purchase of stolen goods. I mean, 12th Avenue South and South Jackson Street is one of 2 of Seattle's worst intersections, the other one being Pike and Pine, 3rd Avenue, downtown. So you've allowed this intersection in the International District to just be overrun with this kind of crime. Nothing has really been done about it. And the Asian community just continues to take it. But the Asian community typically also votes blue. So this is kind of what happens when you've got a city that's defunded the police and gone down this road, and you don't have any politicians who are really willing to stand up and say, hey, we're going to make a difference here. We're going to change this up, because you got a bunch of lunatics running around. Clearly, Seattle has a whole bunch of homeless lunatics that are running around stabbing people. Let's keep going.
On the mass stabbing, including Ryan Sims with Neighborhood Reaction and Lynn Ann Wynn at Harborview, where the victims are recovering.
But we start with Jeremy Harris, who was in the neighborhood talking with people about the previous stabbings when today's attack happened. Jeremy?
Yeah, with the suspect now in custody, the urgent task for investigators is to figure out who he is, what a motive may have been, and do they have evidence to connect him to all 10 people who've been stabbed here in the Chinatown International District since yesterday morning. We came up here today to talk to people who were on edge after yesterday's stabbing spree, only to find ourselves in the middle of a violent and chaotic scene.
If you're enjoying this content and you want to see just a little bit more, we've got way more on this story. On our private members only Reasonable TV, I did kind of a long couple of videos. Seattle's mass stabbing, Como news crews recount chaotic scene. There was a lot of talk of some really violent stuff here. Jeremy Harris did a deep dive and got this on the private channel because of the nature of the content. What's that going to cost you? $3.99 a month. Get a 14-day free trial. Check it out. Back to the story.
Edge after yesterday's stabbing spree, only to find ourselves in the middle of a violent and chaotic scene. You hear that a lot?
Yeah. Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, all the time.
It was in this interview about a nearby stabbing spree when it happened again.
See the violence, 12th and Jackson.
As we arrived at the scene, this is what we saw. Stabbing victims all over the intersection of 12th and Jackson. Police officers.
I don't even like driving through this intersection. It creeps me out to drive through this intersection. I did a number of stories on Steve Irwin. He drove an excavator into Dr. Jose Rizal Park in Seattle, just a little bit to the south of this intersection here. On my way out, I typically drive through this intersection just to check it out. And it is, you got a bunch of zombies walking around. You got sketchy people. You got people that are mentally not all there. You got people on drugs. You got people selling drugs. It's just one of those areas. And it is not shocking that this happened in this part of Seattle.
Put pressure on the wounds and aided the victims while paramedics and firefighters ran in. They triaged, then raced the victims to Harborview Medical Center.
And I see a man stab him, in the back with a big knife. The knife broke and stayed in his back.
The witnesses tell us it was totally random. A man just walked up and started stabbing people.
Dude, I'm freaking out. I'm like, my friends. My friend's on the ground. I'm dying. I don't want to lose him.
Apparently one individual, over a 38-hour period of time, committing random assaults.
This scene had 5 victims. That's on top of 5 other victims who were stabbed, apparently at random, in Seattle's Chinatown International District in the prior 36 hours.
The arbitrary nature of these assaults makes it likely that these are similar. Again, only one of those previous incidents was a robbery in which a cell phone was stolen. The rest of them were just random attacks, as this appears to be today.
Yeah, I feel super unsafe, actually. Extremely unsafe. It's not safe for anybody to come down here.
We expect to be safe, but 5 random stabbings. Yeah.
Even with a suspect now in custody, the neighborhood says the safety issues here are still not over.
It's super unacceptable. And I'm hoping that they actually do.
You know what's one of the crazy things? That there's a high school right here. So not only are these kids, these young men and women going to trying to get an education, just trying to get to school. They got stabbings. They've got stolen goods. They've got open air drug use. You've got people defecating, taking a whiz. Just all of that absolute debauchery going on while teenagers are trying to get to school. Make that make sense, right? Just what are we even doing?
Do something really soon about it, because it's starting to get really scary.
Starting?
A stabbing spree like this is certainly alarming enough as is, but as you just heard there are broader issues going on here, especially in Little Saigon and the Chinatown International District. To speak to that, you can see behind us, fire crews just arrived here while we've been doing this live shot. They're treating somebody who appeared to be overdosing, and bystanders had to call 911.
Yeah.
Now we got medics treating that. This scene plays out here constantly up at 12th and Jackson, and it's just, you can sense the frustration from people up here who say they're not only dealing with the street disorder around the public drug use, but they're also now dealing with these violent attacks. They're on edge, they're frustrated, and they're looking for help from the city. We'll stay on top of this. Reporting live from the CID, Jeremy Harris, Como News.
4 of the 5 victims from today's mass stabbing are all listed in critical condition tonight at Harborview Medical Center. Como's Lynn-Ann Nguyen continues our team coverage live there tonight. Lynn-Ann?
Well, Preston, in total, 10 people have been stabbed in the CID since early yesterday morning, and at least 8 of those victims have been taken here to Harborview in either critical or serious condition since yesterday. 4 of the victims stabbed this afternoon were hospitalized in critical condition, and SPD tells me the 5th victim stabbed this afternoon was not severely injured, and they were treated at the scene. I'm told all of the victims have injuries ranging from minor cuts to severe stab wounds, and as SPD stated before, there were 5 separate stabbings prior to this afternoon's incidents. The victims in those earlier stabbings were also taken here to Harborview, most of them in serious condition, including a 52-year-old woman who was stabbed 8 times and a 32-year-old man who was stabbed 7 times in his chest and in his back. Another victim told police the suspect approached his vehicle near 8th and King last night, forcing the door open and tried to stab him in the chest, which he blocked, but he was then cut on his hand. First responders also took 2 more victims to Harborview, one man with multiple stab wounds and another man who was found bleeding heavily from his neck this morning around 1 a.m. near 12th and Jackson. Now, again, all of these victims were stabbed in the same general area in the CID, all within a couple of blocks of 12th and Jackson. All these incidents seemingly random. Reporting live in Seattle tonight, Lynn-Ann Nguyen, Como News.
The Como 4 drone captured the frantic police activity following today's mass stabbing. For years, Como has reported on crime and safety concerns in the Chinatown International District and the frustration from people who live and work there. Como's Ryan Sims is live now. And Ryan, you heard more of those same concerns again tonight.
Yeah, the worries just keep rising.
I have concern I'm going to be stabbed on the streets of Seattle. That is very concerning. I am afraid for my safety. I am concerned. Yeah, when you have this many stabbings, you got something going on. It ain't in the water, folks. You got a bunch of nut jobs running around that are on drugs, and this is what's going on. This is what happens. This is the inevitable situation that's going to occur when you got a bunch of people that shouldn't be out on the streets doing their thing. At times, they have breakdowns, and this is how you end up with this many stabbings in a very short period of time.
Mary, we should mention this too, that today's series of stabbings come a year after a historic preservation group said that the Chinatown International District is one of the most endangered historic places in the United States because of crime, and neighbors say enough is enough. Now, talking about that, while updated crime numbers are still unavailable through the middle of the most recent summer, we're talking about July, there were 95 violent crimes and 285 property crimes here in the CID. Needless to say, the stabbings from the last 2 days will definitely raise those violent crime numbers even more. In the hour after today's mass stabbing incident, we spoke to 2 high school seniors who have to walk through this area every day just to get to class. They say dealing with crime is an everyday occurrence on their way to school.
It's all the drugs over here mostly. Gets pretty aggressive over here sometimes.
It's a bit scary because there's a lot of kids over here because it's a high school. So it's a bit concerning when people are being stabbed like in the middle of the day.
Concerning. Yep.
Now, all this comes as the city council just voted a few weeks ago to install a series of security cameras in this area of the stabbing under the plans. That new technology will give officers real-time information about a crime scene before they even get to that area. We asked neighbors their thoughts on that spruced up technology that will be happening and coming to this area in a few months. They say it cannot come fast enough. Coming to you live from the CID tonight, Ryan Sims, Como News.
And that brings us to tonight's Como Pulse poll. Hannah Knowles is at the live desk going over the results for us. Hannah?
Those frustrations echoed throughout the city, which brings us to our Como Pulse poll tonight. Tonight, we are asking, what would make you feel safer when visiting?
Oh, my city. Hey, do you think more lighting at night is going to be good? Is that going to cut down on the crime? Is that going to cut down on the crazy people running around whacked out of their mind on drugs, stabbing people? More lights? More lights. Are you asking more businesses? You need more businesses. That's going to bring more people into the area. It's going to push the crazies out. No. Visible police presence. These people are mental. They don't care if cops are there or not. They do not care. Stricter drug enforcement. Okay. All right. Now we're getting somewhere. But bottom line is, well, let's finish this segment. Bottom line is, you need to get these people off the streets. They do not belong on the streets with normal people.
A visible police presence. 43% say stricter drug enforcement. 3%, tied at 3%. Our last 2 options, more lighting at night and more businesses.
Drop your bags right there. Stop. Turn around for me. Walk backward slowly towards me.
Developing tonight, the suspect wanted in Wednesday's stabbing death of the Metro bus driver, now in custody. As you see, he was arrested early this morning on a Metro bus. Good evening. I'm Michelle Esteban. Thanks for joining us. A judge found probable cause for murder in the 2nd degree. After days of searching, police arrested 53-year-old Richard Sitzlak near 3rd Avenue South and South Main in Seattle's University District just after.
So that is not Seattle's University District. That is just south of the old area where the Kingdom was, where our big domes are now. It's downtown.
For 4 this morning, the driver reported he spotted him asleep on his bus. Como's Karina Vargas interviewed that bus driver for us today, and he explained how it all went down. Karina, what a quick-thinking driver here.
Yeah, Michelle, I mean, he tells me that it was a rush of emotions. He tells me that he was anxious and on edge and really wanted to make sure that the suspect was caught. And he tells me that he does feel some relief knowing that he's now behind bars. This video shows the moment Seattle police arrested Richard Sitzlak, and it was all thanks to the swift actions of Metro bus driver Timothy Nelson, helped identify him.
They had taken off his hood and removed his face mask. And I recognized him immediately. Like, I had the police bulletin in my pocket for 2 days. doing my best just to
Good
remember
call.
what he looked like.
Well done.
Facial features, just what he was wearing, anything he was carrying. But like I saw his face.
Can you imagine being a bus driver and driving a bus around for a couple of days knowing a killer is out there, and that killer, because he took the bus before, high likelihood that he's going to get on your bus if you're driving those routes. Imagine, oh, this is totally worth it. Yeah, go ahead. King County. Yeah, I need a raise. I need hazard pay raise, right? I mean,
I'm like, that's him.
Police say a witness reported to police that the suspect was seen riding the E-line. And as soon as Timothy got the description, he said he made the call after noticing him in the back of his bus.
He was asleep all the way in the back while all this was happening. He had no idea what was happening.
Timothy said he was both relieved but filled with anger about the murder of Sean Yim, who he says he grew close with.
He just was always really nice, always good with a joke or a quip or something like that, and just really caring.
Transit union leaders say it's been a hard few days knowing someone dangerous was roaming the streets. According to court records, Richard Sitzlak was arrested in November 2023 for the murder of his roommate, though prosecutors say there was not enough evidence at the time to disprove his claims of self-defense.
Anger. And
so this is number 2 murder for this dude. Well, self-defense in the first one with his roommate. This guy is also known as a transient who frequents the University of Washington district area and also the downtown area.
And our members had to go about a day and a half with no description, terrified to go to work, not knowing who to look for to help find him.
After this fatal stabbing, they hope it will be an eye-opener for change. The transit union is demanding safety changes now that start with more police.
We need to move now. We need to quit talking about it. I've been calling for 5 months to have a task force for transit safety in this area. I've talked to every politician in this area. It hasn't happened.
Now, the union tells me that they want justice and accountability. Sitzlak is being held at the King County Jail and is expected to appear in court as early as Monday afternoon. For now, reporting live in Seattle, Karina Vargas, KOMO News.
So yeah, come to Seattle, ride the bus, check out the International District. Yeah, it's all fine. It's all good. It's golden. Go to the AT&T store on Rainier Beach. Yeah, it should be fine. Should be fine. This is the stuff we got going on in Seattle because you got a bunch of Looney Tunes on drugs running around. That's it for me on this episode. There's no real conclusion here other than this is the state of Seattle. Stabbings, they're a thing. Yeah. I'll catch up with you in the next episode. Bye for now.